Hello, welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. We are going to review the disputed Unexplained Season 2, or is it Season 1, Episodes 8 through 16? There is definitely some dispute about that. We're going to treat it as if it was Season 2 because that's the way it was brought to us. So that's how that's going to work. It is still hosted by William Shatner, and there were 8 episodes for Season 2, or there were 8 more episodes of Season 1, depending on how you want to classify it. If you're not familiar with the show, I do have a review of the first season, the undisputed first season, episodes 1 through 8, and it is very similar in the first half, Season 1, is very similar to his companion Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of, though he denies it, but whatever. In Season 2, it becomes a lot more like a traditional documentary of fascinating things. And then he'll make it all weird, and they'll use goofy sound effects and visual effects to amp up the weirdness so that it feels more unexplained instead of, this is just a normal topic, dude. Okay, so let's take a look at the episodes from this season. And what we have here is, let's take a peek. The first one was the Oak Island Curse, which has been covered. I guess it has its own reality show, and I do not watch it, but I did watch this episode, and it's a wonderful history. And it's funny because, like, back in the 70s, there were movies like this, like The Unexplained, and they were real low budget movies, but whatever. It was a chance to get out of the house. And there was one that talked about the Oak Island Curse then, so that, you know, that legend goes back to the early 1900s. Anyways, it's done really, really well. The interviews are good, and it makes it very entertaining and educational. The second episode, Dark Prophecies. That one, didn't do much for me. It was kind of like, okay. Because it was more tilted toward the creepy stuff, and it was like, Now, The Lost Civilizations, that one was an excellent documentary on literally lost civilizations, what happened to the Incas and things like that. So really enjoyed that one. If you ever come to Hollywood and there's not a riot or a pandemic, and you want to do something really fun for not too much money, do check out Ripley's Believe It or Not, because Ripley's Believe It or Not is very similar to this series in the way that they put it in a museum, but they make it all creepy. But a lot of it is just run-of-the-mill, you know, just human studies. And it's, in fact, I learned a lot of the stuff in college in some of my humanities classes. So this show, Ripley's Believe It or Not, the museum, complement each other very nicely. Deadly Colts. Now, that was my favorite episode of the whole season. And the reason it was my favorite episode is because of the interviews and the cults that he went over, you know, including David Koresh and things like that. It's a really, really good one. I did look online to see what some of the other people thought of it, and they didn't think as highly of it as I do. I don't care. This is my review. I thought it was really, really entertaining and extremely educational, and the interviews were wonderful. The Extreme Weather Mysteries. Again, this is another example where they hype up the hoopla, and most of it's not that bad, but they did cover the blood rain, and they did cover the raining frogs and raining fish, and apparently the raining fish is seasonal in one part of the world. And so if you didn't know that it rains frogs, and you didn't know that it rains fish, and you didn't know that it rains blood, you will definitely want to check that episode out, because it happens more often than most people want to talk about, including very recently. The next one, Mysterious Stones. Oh god, it was that god-awful crystal skulls. Where was Indiana Jones when you need him? Come on, Captain Kirk. Where's Indiana Jones? Yeah, so there's healing stones, there's the crystal skulls. I did not like that episode. Not because of the quality of the oh yeah, y'all know I'm subscribed to that channel. Not because of the quality of the episode, but because I just didn't like the subject matter. And maybe that was the issue with the Deadly Cults for other viewers. Vampires and Werewolves. This is a really good one if you don't know the history of vampires, because it catches you up to speed. But if you are an adult and you've watched a lot of these kind of shows, you've heard it a million times. The werewolves went a little bit into newer territory, so that was kind of okay. And Chupacabra's in there too, so always get a thumbs up for El Chupacabra. And then the final one, amazing animals and their abilities. And here's little Billy Shatner. Okay, he's not really so little anymore. That poor button is like, I'm giving it all I can, Captain, but I don't think I can give any more. And he starts with horses. If you know anything about William Shatner, besides the fact that he's done Captain Kirk, Admiral Kirk, etc., that man loves his horses. And so here it is in the final episode, and he just has fun with who he is. And so it covers horses, and it does it in the creepy, weird way, but it's like, dude, it's just horses that you love. You're just finding a way to milk it. Good for you. His current wife is, he met her at the equestrian center where he frequents more than one. But yeah, she was his teacher, and so he married his teacher. Hot for teacher, got it bad, so bad. So there's horses in here. There's dogs sniffing cancer, which everybody knows about, that knows anything about dogs and stuff. Now, I find it interesting because in the section with the dogs, they make a big deal about how dogs can smell so much better than human beings. And that, you know, with their nose, not their skin, smells better, because you get a dog wet and it's like, that smells not, no, it's not fun. But in doing research on dogs' smell and everything, let me just say, it's conflicted, because I've read several examples where human beings' sense of smell is almost as close as sharks and almost as close as dogs. We just don't utilize it as much anymore. But if you've ever been in the instance where you smell a memory, you smell something wafting by, and you're like, and it takes you back, all you need is just a few molecules to land on your olfactories in your nose to trigger that. So yes, we definitely do have it. We just don't pay attention as much. Unlike the dog world, we don't go around sniffing each other's behinds anymore. I'm kind of okay with that, and apparently the pandemic's going to make us not shake hands anymore. We shall see about that. Okay, and let's see. So they do the dogs, they do the tigers, and they do the cats, and they do the humpback whales. Again, this was him having fun with the show. I'm guessing he is the executive producer, so he's footing a lot of the bill and making the decisions. And in the humpback whales, come on, Star Trek fans, episode 4, The Voyage Home, there be humpbacks, Captain. We got whales. So he does the humpbacks. That story's really creepy cool. And they do the dolphins and how dolphins protect human beings in the ocean. And in this particular example, they have a humpback whale saving a woman's life. And I won't tell you how or why, because you can watch it on your own. All right, in summation, I enjoyed season 1, episode 8 through 16, or season 2, 1 through 8. Whatever the case may be, I enjoyed it more than the first season, or the first half. And I really enjoyed the first half. So this one I really did enjoy a lot more. Now, there were the 2 episodes like, whatever. But that's just me. Oh, and the weather thing. There was one example in the weather thing, and it's the opening one, and it's a guy whose house, the tornado circled his house. It destroyed everything around his house, but not the house. The house was fine. And yeah, okay, that's kind of definitely the unexplained. And it was really cool, and they show how it worked. And it's like, yeah, that's weird. So, do I recommend it? I definitely recommend it. I recommend season 1 through 8. I recommend season 2, or season 1, episode 8 through 16, however it works. Yeah, it's a cool show. And on a personal note, I really hope he takes this into consideration, because we've already lost Leonard Nimoy. We've already lost his name escapes me. I wasn't prepared to say it. Dr. McCoy, and we've lost Scotty. He could stand to shed a few pounds, so he sticks around with us for a little bit longer. And with that, we wish him well, we wish you well, and we will see you in the future.